First News with Keeler in the morning on WIBX and WIBX950.com.
Coming up, we'll talk to Tanya Powers on those. And speaking of this, of Texas, the Democrats in the legislature there that all got on a plane and went to Washington and prevented a legal vote from occurring in Texas. And we'll speak with Tanya Powers on that coming up.
They're saying that legally that those Democrats could be arrested.
Yeah.
I was shocked to hear that, but I guess we'll see
if
what
Griffo
happens.
and some Republicans decided to do that because they didn't like, some vote in Albany.
Yeah.
Yesterday we had Anthony Brindisi on, who said he's running for the state Supreme Court seat in the 5th Judicial District. Today we will have his opponent on, Danielle Fogel, who is in Syracuse. She is the president of the Bar Association out there, but is from South Utica. And interestingly, these two candidates, Fogel versus Brindisi, went to school together in Utica. So she's originally or is from Utica. We'll speak with her, Danielle Fogel, coming up in a little while. Anthony Pacenti, county executive, is on. And a lot of stuff that's going on. We mentioned Innovari and the recent tour he took of the downtown hospital construction. What's interesting is they've added lighting, have you noticed, on each of the floors. So if you're driving at night...
Oh, I haven't seen this yet.
Or if you're driving in... And I'm imagining these are construction lights, but they're on every floor. And if you're coming in from, let's say, like the Sangertown side on the arterial, as you drive in... at like 5:30 in the morning when it's just starting to get to the sun's just coming up. Every floor you see, lights on all the floors, and it's kind of cool because it gives you the feel of what it's going to look like when it is open.
Yeah.
And when you're coming from a distance, you can't tell that it's open air, but it is. So there are lights on the floors now. Anyway, he did a tour. We'll speak with him about that. That seems to be going out really well. Chris Tritico is a legal expert and former defense attorney. He actually was one of the defense attorneys on the Timothy McVeigh case, defending McVeigh. Everybody's got to have somebody to defend them, right? What he does, he comes up with 3 legal stories, and we get into it with him, and we'll do that later on this morning. Also, the free money question from Obica. Ryan Noble's coming up as well in the 8 o'clock hour. And Roger's in Clayville wants to talk about voting. Good morning, Roger. Good morning.
Morning. I just want to comment on the voting situation going on throughout the country.
Yeah, what's up?
I personally think it's nothing but a political situation. I look at many things like Delaware, for example. It has very strict voting laws, much more than Georgia. Yet they went after Georgia and moved the All-Star game, and I was watching the game last night, kind of like, why did they ask the NASCAR to move the Monster Mile out of Delaware because of their strict voting? And many other states, Belmont Race, why didn't they ask them to move the Belmont Racetrack out of New York? Because New York has got more strict voting laws than
keep in mind, though, that it's just something that baseball decided to do. It's not like it's not like the government did this. Baseball made that decision.
I understand that, but President Biden was all for it. He supported it.
Yeah, I get it. I understand. However, I got to say, I've listened to all the talk shows and watched the newscasts. I still don't know really what goes on in some of these other states or what has gone on or what history there is. So all I know about is where I vote, and I really don't think it's my place to get involved in. I get it. It's a big political issue right now. But what do I really know about how they vote in Delaware? I have no clue. They can tell me that they have stricter voting rights, and somebody can say that Texas is being unfair or Georgia's being unfair. I have no clue. I don't know.
It is interesting, though, how even Stacey Abrams was like, whoa, you're pulling the All-Star game. Hold on a second.
Yeah, I think that was a
knee-jerk reaction.
I think so, yeah. Well,
but when you have the President of the United States supporting that move, but not supporting the move to move the NASCAR race out of Delaware or Belmont race out of New York, it's political.
All right. Well, I guess I get the Biden thing, but do you really think Biden is attentive enough right now to get involved in all of these issues? I mean, he can only handle one at a time, man. I mean, how could he keep in his mind the Belmont? You've got NASCAR. You've got baseball. I mean, I don't think he can keep all that stuff straight with everything else in the world going on. I'm just saying.
I don't disagree with that. He's got a lot on his plate. But it's just kind of unusual that they target a state that is in the middle of a political war, but they leave the other ones alone.
Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, right? You have a Democratic controlled White House, and we're very political, probably more political than we've been in a long time. So there you go.
Just wanted to give you my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. Thank you, Roger. Roger, thank you. I just don't know how much. I think baseball made the mistake.
Yeah.
I mean, if it is a mistake to pull it out of Georgia, I think baseball made the mistake. Right?
Yeah.
The government didn't on any side didn't make them do anything. And the reason that NASCAR is not pulling from anywhere, you're not going to see that happen. So it is what it is. But again, I have no clue what it's like to vote in Georgia or what it's like to vote in Delaware. I don't have any idea. You want to comment on that? Feel free. 315-736-0186. Unfortunately, thanks to kerfuffle over voting in Georgia, your son got jumped because they moved the All-Star game. That's
I know you should be enraged.
If that game was in Georgia, it would nothing would have happened to my kid.
That's right.
That's what I know. Because all politics are local. And, all punching is local as well. It's just crazy, these things.
I can't believe that happens.
Angelo, you were with us last night at Nostro's, the new restaurant opening. What were your thoughts on the experience and on the restaurant?
My thoughts were it was called the Arsenale platter, or
Arsenale.
That's what it was called.
Yeah.
That's what we ordered, and it was. I think was it everything on the menu, but just in different portions.
I think it was different. A lot of what's on the menu. Yeah.
I thought it was really good.
Is the fare American, Italian? Is it a mix?
It's Italian.
Yeah, it's Italian,
but also American.
Nice.
So I think there's a bit of a mix, but I would say mainly it has more of an Italian feel. There's pasta and the meatballs and. Really, really good.
So it's a certain type of restaurant, right? There's some sort of what do they call it?
It's like a tapas.
Yeah. Okay.
So
right, yeah.
you're getting, but you don't really get small plates. That would be tapas. This is a little different.
A resto bar.
It's what they're calling it, a resto bar. So, but the difference is that when you get, for instance, a bolognese pasta. You're getting enough you get small plates and you get a large dish and it's served family style.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, and you're cool with the people you're sitting with, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's your group and your, what did we call it during the pandemic? That's your
cohort, your bubble.
Yeah, you're in your bubble, right? But it was good. The food was really, really, really good. How about a story about a man who jumped off a bridge as a goof during a traffic jam and survived. So he apparently, they were in a traffic jam, and as a way to show how upset he was over the traffic jam, he decided to get out of his car. The guy's name is Jimmy Jennings, talking about jumping. He got out of his car, jumped off the bridge, and everybody thought he was going to die. Turns out he didn't die. He did survive, and here he is talking about it.
I hit the water, kind of hurt my shoulder. When I started swimming, I couldn't get back to the bank because the current was way too strong. It was pretty crazy, me getting back to shore. They all had their guns on me. They were all telling me, get on the ground. And so I got on the ground, listened to them.
Okay.
Did he steal somebody's car?
We talk about the punch at the All-Star game with my son. We talk about this. I think the list goes on and on. People are nuts right now.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's post-pandemic. Everybody's out. It's like, I'm in a traffic jam. Watch what I do.
I can't take it anymore.
To get you what I do to myself. The guy almost died. What is going on?
There's a lot of anger, too. There's a lot of angry people.
In Phoenix, a wife bought her husband tickets to Game 3 of the NBA Finals, not realizing that Game 3 was taking place in Wisconsin, which is not where they live.
Oh, man.
They're in Arizona. Here's Carolyn Stockton explaining what happened and why they decided to fly out to Wisconsin for the game, regardless of the mix-up. Here we go.
Which game is it? 1 or 2? And she goes, third game. The third game. I go, oh, that's perfect, sweetheart. I said, have you ever been in Milwaukee? She goes, what? Milwaukee is a pretty cool place. I said, find out what flights are, if it's reasonable, make me use our points, whatever. And if we get a hotel near the arena, I said, make it so.
The guy sounds a lot like Claycomb, doesn't he?
Yeah.
A little bit there. So let's say...
How long does it take me to get to Phoenix?
So the woman is trying to do something nice for her husband. And she buys him tickets to the NBA Finals, but not realizing that one game, maybe 2 games they're playing at home, but then they're going to be traveling across the country, right?
That's awesome.
But her mind was in the right place.
Bill, we've gotten a lot of people asking where the restaurant is, so if you could just repeat that information.
It is across from the Stanley parking lot.
Yep, no
the
Future
old Oneida the old Oneida National building on Genesee Street in Utica.
Hours are 4:30 to 10.
Right across from the Stanley Theater.
Thank you, Angela.
Check that out. Tanya Powers, the governor in Texas, saying Democrats who fled the state to prevent that voter rights bill, they could actually be arrested. Tanya, good morning. What's going on here?
Good morning. Well, by the way, first of all, she sounds pretty slick to me, because if you really just, wanted to take a trip after the pandemic. Oh, really? Wait, that's in another state. We're going to have to get on a plane and fly and travel? Oh,
that's a very good point.
Darn.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. Yeah.
Now we have to take vacation time. This is awesome. Awfulsome.
The Texas Democrats, the House Democrats there in the Texas legislature, they've gone to Washington, D.C., and the reason it wasn't just hey, let's everybody take a field trip. This was, of course, to run out the clock, basically, on the controversial voting bill that's backed by Republicans in the legislature there in Texas, as well as Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who says he will call special session after special session after special session. That's a quote. Up until Election Day of next year, if I have to. That is what he has said. The whole reason that they've left the state is because, if they're not available and don't, show up there in the House to vote, they don't have a quorum. They have to have a quorum in order to move legislation out of the lower chamber. So they can't do that if the Democrats are not there and they don't have a quorum. So that's the whole, thing that's going on here. The Texas governor says that they will arrest those Democrats when they get to Texas. It's a, procedure that is it's not, it's already kind of written down and said, okay, well, this is what they can do. But as long as they're not in Texas, it's, it's sort of up in the air. So they're in a special session now because of this. So, like I said, he says he will just continue to call special sessions until this gets passed.
So, Tanya, I'd love to know your opinion. I mean, you grew up in the South. And I'm sure as an 18-year-old, you graduated and you got to vote in the South. Is there a problem with voter access in parts of the South, or is this just some political grandstanding that is just more ridiculous than anything else?
There are problems with voting access, especially when you start looking at early voting access in states that have early voting. I know in Tennessee, where I'm not from Texas, so I can't speak to history there. I do know what they're trying to do as far as this voting bill that they want to pass, which would roll back some of the practices that made it easier for people to get to cast their ballot during the pandemic. It would also, by the way, make things easier for people with disabilities. That's who this is really going to, affect a lot. Yeah. Are people with disabilities? It's not a. I mean, there's all kinds of things that are used to sort of curtail access in some places. Some places with early voting, they'll open. Polling sites will be open in some areas and not other areas, or make it harder for people in areas without maybe transportation. Maybe they have to rely on public transportation or whatever. And by the way, public transportation in the South is not what it is here.
Right.
So it's not like, oh, well, there's a bus all the time and they come near you all. That's not, no, it's not nearly used as much as it is here. It's not as well done as it is here. But yeah, there's a lot of different things that are used to, not keep people from voting, but definitely make it harder for them to get to a polling place, especially if they've got to, hold down a job and take care of kids, and maybe they don't have their own car just to run over to early voting or whatever. And there's some issues.
Yep.
I will absolutely.
I do remember a spot in Texas where there was a network news story. I don't know who ran the story, but during the presidential election, where they had to drive like almost an hour in order to cast their early vote. And there were other temporary polling stations that were set up to prevent that long drive, and that's one of the places that ended up being shut down by the governor. And I get it that you want to keep it secure. It has to be secure, but at the same time, while it doesn't have to necessarily be easy, it shouldn't be so inconvenient that it dissuades people from voting.
Right, and that's what that's what some of these measures are seen as doing. That they're able to say, well, we've got polling locations open, people can certainly come. Well, yeah, but when you take into consideration, not everybody has equal access as far as, like I said, having a lot of spare time to get on public transportation, navigate across the city, do this. If they squeeze down the locations, that means longer lines at the locations that are open.
Yep.
That means a whole day off of work. A lot of people aren't going to do that, and a lot of folks know that.
Interesting stuff, Tanya. We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Tanya J. Powers from Fox News. It's Wednesday.
It is Wednesday.
Halfway there.
Seems like just such a short week for me. I don't know. It's already Wednesday. I can't believe it. All right, hold tight. We'll do a break. Which is the number one place in America to live? Can you think of where the number one spot would be? It's out. One of these surveys is out. And the number one spot, and I'll tell you, I guess I'm not going to be able to tell you where Utica's at, or Rome, or the Valley. I can't really tell you that. But I can tell you what the number one place to live in America is. What do you think it is? We'll get to that. 653 WIBX.
This podcast is sponsored by Ramp. Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/easy. Ramp.com/easy. RAMP.com/easy.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.